Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the On Pattison podcast with Mike Missinelli and my boy Anthony Sanfilippo with us today. We are brought to us by the good folks at the law firm of Wapner Newman, and we're picking up the pieces of the Eagles' playoff fallout today, Ant. I never thought that I would be opening this podcast talking about the Eagles losing a game at home, a playoff game at home, to the San Francisco 49ers, where they went off as a 4-point favorite, but the line had gone as high as 6. Nobody on earth expected the Eagles to lose this game, not the least of which was me. I had no problem moving the Eagles on in this playoff run here, but crazy things happen, and the Eagles lose to the San Francisco 49ers. Your original thoughts on what you saw on Sunday?
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised myself, Mike. And I didn't want to dismiss the 49ers as a competitive team. I kind of felt the game was going to be close, but I thought that the 49ers were so banged up, right? And in such a bad way. And then you go and lose Kittle in the first drive of the second quarter, and you're thinking to yourself, this has to be the death knell for San Francisco, right? Like, they can't overcome this. They've had so many injuries. And then the Eagles just didn't do anything on offense.
Same old thing, too. Good first half, bad second half, offense inconsistent. We conned ourselves a lot about the Eagles, thinking that they were going to be able to flip a switch and do something offensively. The fact of the matter is they're a 19-point per game team. That's what they are. And the defense has to hold the other team less than 19. In this case, the defense did not, and they let down in the end. So it wasn't a great defensive performance either. But this offense has been like this now for the last 7 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, no, it has. And here's the thing, Mike. I didn't really think about this until after watching this game. But I think I've identified what the real fatal flaw of this offense was. And it's this. They were so worried with winning the turnover battle, right? I mean, we've heard all about this. And, a lot of people could determine that, well, that's too conservative play, whatever. The Eagles led the league in 3-and-outs this year.
Yep.
In essence, isn't a 3-and-out a turnover? Isn't it? Isn't it the equivalent of taking a long pass down the sideline and it gets intercepted? Isn't it the same thing?
It is. It absolutely is. And, we have to talk about the quarterback in this context. But let's first get into the newsy part of this week, which was that the offensive coordinator got his head chopped off because of this whole thing. Kevin Patullo no longer. And we're going to go over a list of potential offensive coordinator candidates. I know Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni are meeting today. They may have to shed some light on that. But it's a search where the Eagles are going to have to go deep and get somebody who I think is recognizable, a bigger name than normal. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But here's what I want to talk about with this Eagles situation, because I heard a couple of people in the media this week say that it wasn't a disaster. I look at Sunday as a total disaster.
Yeah.
And okay, they won 11 games. The over-under in Vegas was 11.5, so it wasn't like they did anything they weren't supposed to do. They were supposed to be at least an 11-win team. But there are a lot of people out there saying this was not a disaster, that anytime you win 11 games and win your division, it's not a disaster. I have the complete opposite view of this, and I'm curious to know what your view is.
Well, I think it's a disaster because the expectations were much higher, right? Like if your expectations weren't that high for a team, and then they went out and won 11 games, and then they got beat in the first round. Like, I'll give you an example: the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? They had a great season under Liam Cohen. They won, 12 game, 13 game, whatever the hell it is that they won, right? Yep. Great regular season. They played a tough playoff game against Buffalo. We're right there until the end, lose the game on a turnover. Okay, it's disappointing. But if you look at their season, you say that's a successful season for them, right?
Yeah.
The Philadelphia Eagles they're not the Jacksonville.
They came from nowhere. Our expectations are different.
Correct. And so the Philadelphia Eagles are not the Jacksonville Jaguars. And that's the difference. So to sit there and say, oh, well, they won 11 games and they won the division. So what? So what?
Yeah, no, I related to the Phillies losing to the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
Like a team that you're supposed to handle. You have the home field advantage or home stadium advantage in the case of the Phillies. You have the lead in the fourth quarter, and you don't get it done against a team that's so depleted. I think it's totally devastating. And, we can compare it to 2023, which was more devastating. The fact that they lost all those games in a row and just threw away their whole season and lost in the playoff, limped out of the playoffs that year, to this was a team that we expected to do some great things, especially get past the San Francisco 49ers. Now, I don't know what would have happened the next week. I have no idea. Maybe the team they would have played would have been tougher for them to beat. They would have gone to Chicago. Maybe they wouldn't have won that game. But this game is definitely they should have won. And I can't believe there are people in the media who are soft pedaling this whole thing.
Yeah, I can't believe it either, Mike. I mean, I think that you're spot on with that. Like you can't be the defending Super Bowl champion. You can't be a team that was the favorite in the sport to come back and win the Super Bowl again, right? The difference between 2023 and this year, this is why this year is more devastating. 2023, it was a slow death march, right? When we went into that playoff game against Tampa, there wasn't a lot of people in this city who thought, oh, they'll figure it out. It was just like, they're done. They're toast. You went into this game against San Francisco as a favorite thinking you were going to win the game. That's a big difference. That's why this is more devastating a loss than that was.
I totally agree. I'm noticing that the fans have gotten over this a little quicker than they should. I mean, I just get that sense in the city that's like, you know what? We won a Super Bowl last year. Big deal. You know, it kind of files it down to a blunt edge here. And that's not the Philadelphia fan base that I'm used to.
No,
you know?
No.
I don't know. The people that are listening here, I'd love to throw this out to the chat board. Like, do you think this is a devastatingly bad season because they lost to the 49ers? Or are you of the mindset that, you know what? They won 11 games, won the NFC East, blah, 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 blah. I'm curious to know where people stand on that, because I look at it like, I was wiped after they lost that game on Sunday. Yeah. I said, I couldn't believe my eyeballs. I got to be honest with you. I was stunned.
Our friend Ford says he's not over it. He's not.
Well, I'm glad that some people aren't over it.
He says the real crime here is this roster has the talent. It's not like they lost a ton of players. They should have won the conference, quite frankly. And
and we have Steve Savino. That's BS. It's never cool to lose. I get it. But you know, this 49ers team was on dead batteries or dying batteries, and they still had more gumption in the fourth quarter than the vaunted Philadelphia Eagles did.
Yeah, well, here's an interesting comment from the commenters, and this one comes from Dario Mogus 9408. He says, "Not crazy, yo. Shanahan owns the Eagles. He plays chess while Sirianni and his buddy play checkers. If they need a talent at the offensive coordinator to match the player talent, and the theory there, Mike, is that was a game that was won and lost by coaching. The talent was certainly better on the Eagles side on the field if you were looking at the player.
No question about it.
Right? So the game was won and lost on the sidelines with the coaches. And Shanahan had a great game plan and adjusted as the game went on. Same with Robert Saleh, the defensive coordinator. You know what he did, Mike? You know, if you go back and look at that, first half, like he was going into a lot of cover zero. He was blitzing the quarterback, right? And it wasn't really working. The Eagles were moving the ball a little bit against that. Then all of a sudden he said, all right, well, let's sit back in zone for a little while and see how that works. And then he never came out of it. Like
exactly. So let's get to the 1,000-pound elephant in the room here.
Yeah,
the elephants are probably more than 1,000 pounds. But let's talk about the quarterback, because a lot of people look at the quarterback, and if you criticize him at all, you get accused of bad things. So let's take a realistic look at the quarterback. This quarterback does not like zone defenses. He just does not like zone defense. When he looks at his zone, he sees too many people out there. So he's reluctant to throw the ball in the middle of the field. Most of his completions, and this has been documented, come outside the hashes to when he throw into the outside.
Yeah.
So what we have now with the and to boot, we thought that this game plan would include a lot of his runs, and it did not. Now he's reluctant to. He doesn't like pre-snap motion. He doesn't like to run the football. This has all been documented by the people that cover the Eagles, and he doesn't like throwing in the zone coverage. What kind of quarterback do we have here? We had an MVP in the Super Bowl, and all of a sudden now we're looking at it like, well, what is he?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you, Mike. I think a lot of this has to look. It's easy to blame Kevin Patullo, right? He's the easiest guy to blame, and it's the easiest guy to blame because Sirianni was a head coach who won you a Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts is a $50 million a year quarterback. Those guys can't really go anywhere. So who is the easiest guy to point the finger at? And there's no question Kevin Patullo was out over his skis with this. Like he was not right for this job. But when you look, I go back and I look at that last play, the fourth and 11 from the 21, right?
Yep.
I look at that play and they call timeout. They want to see what defense the 49ers are in.
Right.
And they go to the sideline and the camera is showing the conversation. Who's doing most of the talking? Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts was doing most of the talking. Patullo then calls a play, and I don't want to be a lip reader, but it looked like Sirianni says to Jalen, "Are you good with that?" Mm-hmm. And Jalen says yes, and they call that play.
Okay.
That's the quarterback, man. He's talking during that whole timeout. Yeah. He's good with the call, and then that's what they go with.
Well, he's thinking that the tight end is a viable option on that play, right? Because that's who they were going to, Dallas Goedert. But there were 3 guys there. And as a quarterback, you got to see that. Like, for me to put the ball in Jalen Hurts' hands, I give him an option. And I let him, like, if there is a chance to run that ball with him, I do that. But they don't seem to give him that anymore. They don't do the RPOs anymore. They don't do the read options anymore. They don't do that kind of stuff with him. And I'm wondering if they don't do it because he's reluctant to do it. And if he's reluctant to do it, then what do we really have here?
Yeah, look, I don't want to be super critical of Jalen Hurts because I don't think he's a bad quarterback. But I also think that we've gotten to the point where we probably thought a little bit too highly of him as a quarterback. And the warts showed this year a little bit. And it's like I said, it's easy to blame the coach than the offensive coordinator. That's fine. But some of this, a good portion of this has to fall on the quarterback as well.
There's no question about it. Like, it's funny that they always say, well, Jalen needs this. He needs an offensive coordinator who he has more familiarity with because he's had 7 different offensive coordinators and 11 in all his years. I get it. Every year is a different offensive coordinator. He's not, the offensive line wasn't good this year. No other elite quarterback gets that kind of judgment. Like, would they say that about Josh Allen? Would they say, you know what? He underachieves. He hasn't won a Super Bowl because he doesn't have this, doesn't have that. The quarterback is the quarterback. He's supposed to make the plays for you.
Josh Allen found a way to beat a very good Jacksonville team last week, and he does not have nearly the talent on that team offensively.
No, he doesn't. But they never say, well, Josh Allen doesn't have this. Josh Allen doesn't have that.
But that's my point.
Great receivers.
He makes average players better because of that's how good of a quarterback he is. Whereas Jalen Hurts has better players around him, and they seem to get worse. That's the weird thing of it, right?
Yeah,
the Eagles are a conundrum to me, Mike, completely. In all phases, they do things completely differently than our sports brain is able to quantify it. They just do.
All right, on our chat board, Ford says, to me, had they fired KP earlier, who knows? Maybe it galvanizes the squad. You could see palpably that the team didn't like KP, so we fire him at the end. Nah, man. Well, I don't know if you could fire somebody in the middle of the season because who did you have to call plays? Like who was going to step in and call plays? Was the head coach going to do it?
Right. We know he can't.
Like who else would have done it? You're not going to get a guy off the street and throw him in there.
Right. Exactly.
Even though they did that a couple of years ago with the defense.
And how did that work?
It did work. I don't know if it was Kevin Patullo's job, whether it was his fault or not. It was a collective group. He's got to take the fall because when you come up so small like they did, somebody's got to go, and he got the chopping block, and he may stay with the team. I don't know. If I was Kevin Patullo, I wouldn't be staying with the Eagles. I'd look for another job with somebody else. Why would I want to stay here?
Yeah, that's true. Hey, Prov John says he had an inexperienced play caller that never got into the flow, using certain plays to set up others for the future. My response to that is, what if the plays that he's using are the ones Jalen wants to run? Isn't that a realistic possibility?
It is. It is a realistic possibility. But they really didn't show any innovation on offense. And here's the bottom line, Ant. This is Nick Sirianni's offense. Kevin Patullo can get blamed for everything, but Nick Sirianni is the one sanctioning all these play calls that are being made.
Yeah, I agree.
He's the head coach. He's the offensive guy.
Yeah, it's his offense, Mike. It is his offense. And so, like, that was the thing that I thought was most interesting about when the reports came out that the Eagles are looking for a new offensive coordinator, that they want to give this guy full autonomy. Whoever this person is going to have full autonomy on the offense.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's a damnation of the coach, the head coach, and the quarterback, both. It's basically saying what you guys have, Nick Sirianni, your offense has not been good enough for a couple of years. And Jalen Hurts, the way you want to run this offense is not good enough for our liking. So you guys are going to adapt to whoever it is that we bring in here.
There's got to be a radical change with the offensive coordinator next year. And we'll talk about it in a second on who this could be. There's a couple of head coaches now that are being bandied about, ex-head coaches for the offensive coordinator. So let's just bring it up right now. Mike McDaniel, the deposed coach of the Miami Dolphins, Brian Dable, deposed coach of the New York Giants. Do either of those names do anything for you?
Well, I mean, look, Dable has experience with Jalen Hurts before from Alabama.
College.
Yeah, I mean,
one year in college. I have to laugh when I hear people say that. Well, Dable knows him. It's college. That's a completely different element.
No, but the only thing that it is maybe that there's a personal relationship that the quarterback feels comfortable with, right? So, yeah, I mean,
comfort schmumford. See, this is the thing. We're always looking for what he's comfortable with. Screw the comfort, because what he's been comfortable with is how they've run their offense this year.
Yeah,
and so you got to say, well, here you got to do some things that you're uncomfortable with.
Fair. I like McDaniel better than Dable. I think McDaniel, when he was with San Francisco, had a really good offense that worked very well. It didn't work in Miami because I don't think he had a good enough quarterback in Miami and Tua Tagovailoa. But I think that if you bring the San Francisco offense from a few years ago to the Eagles, that could work. Mike, there's an interesting name that's out there. I know you mentioned those.
We're going to go over a bunch of names in a couple of seconds. So we have a special guest, by the way. A special guest is joining us in about 5 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Although a special announcement.
Yeah, he's in the chat, but saying his device is not connected. So I just texted him to say, "Hey, log out, log back in." So, yeah. But the only
mystery guest is coming up.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. The one thing I wanted to say though about the name that's out there that came out today. So this is from Pat Leonard from the New York Daily News. I don't know if you saw this.
Did not see it.
Okay. So this would be kind of like newsy. We'll bring this up, get your take on this.
All right, go ahead.
He says, Ole Miss offensive coordinator Charlie Weiss Jr. His name has come up a lot this cycle on the NFL head coaching candidates, pitch potential staffs in interviews. I'm told the Philadelphia Eagles have poked around on him for their offensive coordinator vacancy.
Wow. Hot coaching name, Charlie Weiss Jr.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that where you want to go? You want to go with a young, untested guy?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think that you have to bring in a guy, and this is where my theory is. You have to bring in a guy with some experience who you think could potentially be your next head coach too, if things don't work out for Nick Sirianni next year.
Yeah.
Right? And so I don't know.
This guy's a big enough name for you.
No, he's not.
Not.
He's not. That's the thing, right?
All right.
Like, I'm more with in line of I like McDaniel, I like Stefanski, I like Cliff Kingsbury. Those names I think are the kind of offensive coordinators that you need. They could potentially be, if you needed them to be, the guy to replace.
All right, let's go over some names, and then we'll get to a break, and hopefully our mystery guest will join us. I'll just throw out some names here. Todd Monken. And now he's available now because Harbaugh was fired by the Ravens, but Harbaugh's going to get the Giants job, so maybe he's not available. Maybe Monken goes with him, right?
Yeah.
All right. Kevin Stefanski, you'd like, but he may get another shot to be a coach.
I think he will.
Very interesting name. Brian Dable. Here's an interesting name. Nate Scheelhaas. Now, I remember him as the quarterback of Illinois.
Yeah.
And he's 35 years old. He's a quick riser through the college ranks. He went to Iowa State, and then he moved up the ladder to offensive coordinator in 2023. He's worked under Sean McVay with the Rams and has been their passing game coordinator last year.
I mean, look, the Rams offense is creative. right? I mean, it's a
Yeah.
Sean McVay offense. It's the right kind of coaching tree.
Okay, you like that. All right. Semi-like.
I'd be okay with it. I would be okay
Yeah.
with that.
Very young name. Zach Robinson, another young name. 39-year-old former McVay assistant who's been the last 2 seasons as their Falcons offensive coordinator, but Raheem Morris was fired, so he's out of a job.
Yeah.
Mike Kafka, he does nothing for me.
No.
David Shaw, who was famously Stanford's head coach, and he was with the Lions, their passing game coordinator this year. Mike LaFleur, that's another name that's getting a lot of attention. 38 years old. So are you looking for more of a young guy? Because there's also Frank Reich out there who's 64.
Yeah, good question. Look, I don't want a guy who's I don't want Frank Reich. And I know
I don't want him either.
I don't want Frank Reich either.
I don't either.
I think
you want somebody young and kind of in the mode of a Shanahan McVay.
Yes, that's kind of what I would be. That's what I would be most impressed with.
Would you be most impressed with that over an established coach who was a head coach in this league, who's now going down a step to be the offensive coordinator?
No. I'm okay with an established coach too. I really am. I think that's kind of what I think that the Eagles need that, right? I mean, look at the guys that they've had. Not that they were established coaches beforehand, but they're head coaches in the NFL now. They had guys who were smart, creative minds who gave you different looks offensively. I thought Shane Steichen's offense was even better than Kellen Moore's. Kellen Moore just found what the Eagles did well and just leaned on it, right? And just said nobody can stop us doing this. I liked what Steichen did. So if you could give me a guy like that as an offensive coordinator, I'm good with it.
Okay.
I'm good with it.
Let's take a break, and we'll come back. Maybe our special guest will be with us.
I see him back there now.
We'll go back to the Eagles because we got to talk about free agency and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But this show is being brought to you by Wapner Newman. Winners win, Wapner Newman has been winning for families throughout Philadelphia area and New Jersey since 1978. You need a winner? Just call Wapner Newman at this number, 215-569-0900. That's 215-569-0900, or just visit them online at wapnernewman.com. It is the On Pattison podcast with Mike Missanelli and Anthony Sanfilippo, and we're back after this.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Warm up this fall with an incredible seafood boil. Try the Uncle George with succulent snow crabs, tasty mussels, and shrimp. There's the Pete's Feast with 2 pounds of sweet succulent crab legs, a dozen shrimp, clams, and a pound of mussels. Or create your own boil. Add a lobster tail or a delicious Dungeness cluster. Include smoked sausage, corn, and potatoes, served in our tasty broth, made with white wine and our signature seasonings. A shellfish lover's dream at Chickies and Pete's.
The Peruzzi Automotive Group on Business Route 1 in Fairless Hills is looking for auto techs, all skill levels. Here's a chance to work for a locally owned family business that offers many benefits. For more information, call the service director, John Damarotis, at 215-943-6200. That's 215-943-6200, or visit any Peruzzi service department.
Think banking hasn't changed? Think again. At Penn Community Bank, we've been helping communities thrive for 150 years. From our nationally recognized Access Checking that offers the peace of mind of no overdrafts, to student and free checking plus options with perks that will make you wonder what you did without them, like early direct deposit, overdraft grace, and Zelle. Learn more at PennCommunityBank.com/products. Penn Community Bank. Here we grow. Accounting.
Are you living with relentless pain? St. Mary has a new way to help. Knee and hip replacements with a smarter process for faster recovery, earning prestigious awards for quality and value. A rapid recovery program has you walking just hours after surgery, and breakthrough advances such as custom-fit joints position you for a longer pain-free life. 215-710-5888. St. Mary Orthopedics. It's your health. Expect more.
All right, On Pattison podcast with Mike Missanelli, Anthony Sanfilippo. So I guess our special guest is not going to be joining.
No, he's here.
Oh, he is. Where is he?
I'm bringing him on.
Oh, there we go. Let's bring him up. There he is. The great Bob Cooney joining us. What's up, Coon, man?
What's up, boys? How's everything going?
Good, man. Let's make the announcement here. Anthony, since you're in charge at On Pattison, tell the people what they have to look forward to now with Bob Cooney.
Yes, we are. Bob Cooney is joining the team. here at On Pattison.
Outstanding.
He actually started last night, did a couple of stories for us on the Sixers, was down at the game last night. He's going to be doing some Eagle stuff for us as well. Probably going to see him on a podcasting platform soon. So we're really, really excited to bring Bob on board. He's a gem of the Philadelphia sports media, and to have him, to have him with on our team is awesome.
The total legend. Bob, congratulations. Thanks for joining the team here. We're all glad that you're with us here. So let's talk a little Sixer basketball. The last night they take it on the chin a little bit.
Yeah.
The last couple of games have been kind of inconsistent. They had really been on a run to the point where Vegas raised their win total to 46.5, up from 43. So what are they right now, Bob?
I think a lot of it is the look at, and I wrote this today, the look at Joel Embiid and where is he? And, it's the easy thing to do, Mike and Anthony. We've been around long enough to say, could this just be a mirage? He's starting to play better. He's played in 10 of his last 12. His numbers that I wrote today are pretty good over that time period. They might be looking at him saying, whoa, this guy might be able to go and become close to that player that he once was. And then when you throw in a Tyrese Maxey and a VJ Edgecombe, and maybe Paul George is a 15-point-a-night guy that can, maybe hit a big shot. I think that's probably what they're looking at, Mike, maybe that's the reason that those odds have gone up, the win total has gone up, because, again, with the Sixers, you're looking to what may be in the future, not what is here right now.
Bob, it looks like they have a lot of depth. I mean, more depth than they've had in a long time. He brings a lot of players in off that. They played a lot of guys. The only guys that aren't playing are the two aged guys. So there's been roles for everybody. I guess that's a pretty good way of saying that Nick Nurse is blending some people.
Yeah, they got to figure out the starting five still. I mean, do you want Barlow, a two-way player, in there as a starter? Or are they getting Kelly Oubre back into shape to throw him into that starting lineup? Although you do want some firepower off the bench. Grimes gives you that. And maybe you do bring Oubre off the bench so that you're getting some firepower that way. George isn't going to play you the 35, 38 minutes that he's, done throughout his career. That's just not going to happen anymore. But you're right, Mike. And McCain's going to, I think, get better as he gets healthier and maybe get back closer to what he was last year. So they're probably a good 8 or 9 deep, probably 8 deep. And that's what you're looking for going into the playoffs. And, Bona,
Oh, we lost him.
Sorry, I lost you for a second. They're sick of Bona right now. And I said, what do you need him for, except for rebound and block shots? You have offensive firepower. So, yeah, I think Nick Nurse is in a good situation. He still has to figure the rotation out. And once everybody gets as healthy as they can be, I think that's what he'll do.
Bob, do you think that I look at it slightly differently? I know you're trying to figure out the rotation, and that's wonderful because you need to know what your rotation is come April for the playoffs.
That sounded condescending, yeah?
No, it is. It is a little bit, just a little bit. But here's my thinking. I think it's a little bit next level. Do they look at this and say, let's play 9, even 10 guys on a certain night, and do that with consistency because it allows us to not overplay the Embiids, the Georges of the world, and so that maybe for once this team can be healthy for a playoff when they haven't been in the past.
Absolutely. I think that is part of the equation. There is that. Look, when you have a game within reach, obviously you're going to have to keep Embiid and George and Maxey and Grimes on the floor in order to try to win that game. But in some other games, sure, if it's close and I don't know, a Barlow's playing well, keep him on the floor. Maybe Paul George does play only 24 instead of the 28, 30 minutes or whatever it may be. Winning is obviously ultimate. I mean, especially in this Eastern Conference. This isn't a very intimidating Eastern Conference anymore. The Detroit Pistons are your Eastern Conference leaders right now with Tobias Harris, let's not forget. So the Eastern Conference is there to be had. How you go about having it and how you get yourself healthy to the playoffs, that's the balance that Nick Nurse is going to have to find with this team.
Bob, Embiid, I don't know what to make of his health. I really don't. I thought he was on his last legs coming into this year. He's been fairly durable. I still don't know what exactly is wrong with his knees. So Well, what kind of light can you shed on his health at this stage of his life?
Well, it's funny, Mike. I look at it this way throughout this year. He comes back early in the season and he's slow and he's not getting where he wants to be. And it's all perimeter and there's really no inside game from him. He's not jumping for rebounds. He's not jumping to block shots. I have a contention. I've been saying this for years. I don't think he was ever taught how to jump and land. If you notice, like Mike, Anthony, we're a little bit of athletes. When you jump, you land on your toes. When he jumps, he lands flat-footed. He was never taught how to jump and land. And it all goes back to me thinking he was 6'9" when he got hurt. When he was ready to play, he was 7 foot 7'2". I think that had a factor in it. But that being said, at the beginning of the year, he was plodding and you could see it. He's moving now. And I noticed it over the last few games and then being there last night. You know, he's jabbing one way and cutting the other. He's doing give and goes. He's bumping guys down low, getting them off, and then fading away off of one leg, which is supposed to be a bad knee, and hitting jumpers that way. There is, if you pay particular attention to it, there's a movement about him from side to side, straight forward, that just wasn't there earlier in the year. And like I said, it really shows in his numbers in these last 10 games.
What was the reaction? I mean, we saw the video, but I mean, what was everybody's thought on press row and, in the conversations after the game in the locker room about him diving into the crowd to try and save that ball?
Well, here's the crowd's reaction first, Ant. The crowd was, oh! And then when he got up and walked and ran down the end of the floor, they started clapping. So it was a gasp. In the media row, we're just kind of like, oh, good Lord, here we go. Talked to him after the game. He goes, yeah, I was stupid. I shouldn't have done it probably, but and look, timing was all there. It was third quarter. They were getting close in the game. They needed a possession. He knew it. He felt like he could do it. He did it. And I'm never going to fault that. I'm the type of guy like, you got to go hard. If you don't go hard, you're going to get hurt in my book. That's the way I was taught. That's the way I always played. Not that I was anything, but I just think athletes are like that. If you don't go hard, you're more susceptible to get hurt. So God bless him for doing it.
Yeah, it looks like he doesn't have the explosion to the basket when he's there to explode or maybe block a shot or whatever. But the Embiid that we've seen has been a lot more than I thought we'd see.
I agree with you, Mike. And he had a block last night. It was like a series. He had a block last night. He hit a shot. Then he went down and blocked the shot. Of course, he fell down after he blocked the shot, which I still can't get over that. But the explosion isn't there yet, and maybe it won't get there. You're right. But it's more than it was, Mike. It's more than it was at the beginning of this season. And he just seems more confident. And he seems like there's something there that even he's saying, wow, I can do this and it doesn't hurt anymore. It all could come back crumbling down. We've seen it before. The point of my story was just that over these last 12 games where he's played 10 of them, he looks different, and he looks a lot healthier than, like you said, Mike, I think that any of us expected.
Last question for me on this, Bob, is that obviously as he's coming back, he's had to be the number 2 guy, right? Maxi's still the lead dog here because, Joel's trying to get back to being what he once was. You say you're seeing this progression, you're seeing it get better, and maybe he's getting back towards what he was. If he gets there, who do they run the offense through? Do they run it through Joel, or do they still let Tyrese Maxey be the guy, who's scoring all those points for the team?
Yeah, it's going to be a combination. They're going to run that high pick and roll all day long. It's going to be, the handoffs to Maxey, and if they jump Maxey, does the ball go back to Embiid? Is he comfortable shooting? Is he comfortable driving? If they just play it solely one-on-one, well, those are 2 guys in the league you probably feel comfortable if you're Nick Nurse going one-on-one offensively against anybody. Maxey has to shoot well, and we saw last night he was taken out of the game.
Yeah, he did not shoot
Cleveland
well.
Cleveland was 2.5 steps faster than the Sixers last night. When he's taken out of the game, there's nothing else there. So Maxey is the key. As much as everybody says, if Embiid gets doubled, everybody else's job is easier. If I'm an opposing coach, I'm done doubling Joel Embiid. I'm playing him straight up. Whatever he does to you, okay. I'm not letting a Maxey or a Grimes or a VJ Edgecombe. I'm not letting those guys beat you.
Bob, last one for me. That win total. They get 46 wins if you project it out. That may land like 6th in the standings. Now, I always put it together, playoff matchups. Right now, that would be 3-6. That would be the Celtics.
Yeah, of course it would.
Do they beat the Celtics with this team in a first round playoff?
No.
They don't.
I don't care
Really?
about players. I don't care. That Celtics organization just knows how to beat the 76ers.
Wow. You don't think
They
the
just
Sixers,
know how
this team
to.
can beat the Celtics in 7, huh?
Now, look, it's a long way off, as you know, but there is a mystique. We talk about culture. I'm telling you, I've never felt such a culture as I do with the Boston Celtics. And they just, you see it. Look at the guys that they bring in.
Yeah,
They bring in
I don't believe they're winning at the rate they're winning this year either, without Tatum.
But with the Sixers' luck, they'll get them in the playoffs, and Tatum will come back and be able to play them.
Bob, listen, pleasure having you on. And, of course, look for Bob Cooney on Pattison, the website, and many other platforms, correct?
Yeah, and we're getting, Bob, just so you know, you're getting a lot of love in the comments right now.
Yeah, you are getting a lot
Oh,
of
is that
love.
right?
Yeah.
All right.
Great. Nice addition. Bobby C's the man. You got it. There you go.
Listen,
thanks,
I'm
Bobby.
very excited. I thank you guys. I'm very excited for this new adventure. While you guys were talking earlier, just off the top of my head, I didn't have any computer in front of me, or my computer wasn't working. I wrote down 16 quarterbacks that I'd rather have starting for the Philadelphia Eagles than the one they have right now. So I'll leave you at that.
We should keep you on for another 10 minutes so the chat board would go crazy.
I wish I could. I got to go pick up my son. But
Not a Jalen Hurts fan, huh?
What's that?
Not a Jalen Hurts guy, huh?
I just think that if you put other people in there with the talent that they have on that offense, it would be so much better. And I just jotted down 16 quarterbacks.
On that note, Bob, good luck.
Well, we'll talk about that another time, Bob. That could be a column.
Put that hat down low, Bobby.
That's all right. I'm ready to roll. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
There he is, the great Bob Cooney joining us. It is the On Pattison podcast with Mike Missinelli and Anthony Sanfilippo. On the other side, we want to talk about the Eagles free agents, stay or go, because there's a lot of decisions they have to make here on a lot of different players who made up their depth. We're back after this on the On Pattison podcast.
Every champion needs a good game plan. BCWSA and I want to make sure you have a game plan when it comes to conserving our most precious resource, water. Whether you're washing dishes, brushing your teeth, or watering your garden, there are ways you can save water and save money. Visit bcwsa.net for tips on conserving water. BCWSA, proven.
Your day-to-day life is hectic between having to pick up the kids, make dinner, the countless other tasks that you got to get done. Rob's Automotive and Collision is there to make your life a whole lot easier. Make sure you take advantage of their spacious waiting rooms, the large flat-screen TVs, complimentary coffee and muffins, and free Wi-Fi. So even when you do have to stop, Rob's is there to make you feel right at home. Give Rob's a call today at 215-826-9200 for any of your auto repair needs.
Ventresca Limited, the Delaware Valley men's store, is located in historic Doylestown. For casual clothing in denim to business suits and tuxedos, Ventresca Limited has a large selection you have to see to believe. The experienced and knowledgeable sales staff can show you the many brand labels that have made Ventresca Limited in Doylestown a must for men concerned about their image. Select from Canali, Brax Jeans, Hickey Freeman, Johnson Murphy Footwear, and much more. Custom alterations are free. Visit Ventresca Limited on the web at ventresca.com.
A flawless occasion begins at the Capitol Grill. From the moment you step into the Capitol Grill, located in the heart of Center City, the experience is one of comfortable elegance. Whether you're looking to host a private affair, a perfect lunch stop, or dinner destination, start your occasion at the Capitol Grill today. Visit thecapitolgrill.com or call 215-545-9588. That's 215-545-9588 for the Capitol Grill, Center City.
On Pattison podcast brought to you by Wapner Newman. If you find yourself on the injured list, get help now. Call Wapner Newman PA. They're PA and New Jersey's premier medical malpractice and injury attorneys. Here's the numbers: 215-569-0900, 0900, or visit Wapner Newman. That's WAPNERNEWMAN.com. All right. Let's talk about some free agents now.
Yeah.
Anthony, I'm going to go down the list of names. You tell me stay or go and how they stay or go. And then we'll talk about the A.J. Brown issue, which I talked about on my final Birds Brunch telecast. Let's start off with the biggest free agent name, which is Dallas Goedert. 31-year-old tight end. Dallas Goedert had a pretty good year this year. What are you thinking?
Well, I mean, I think that the Eagles would love to bring him back, and I think that he would like to stay. I just don't know if they can make it work, right? Like he would have to kind of have one of those unique contracts. I mean, a lot of things kind of are going to be determined by the A.J. Brown situation, right? Because if the Eagles do trade A.J. Brown and they do it before June 1st, it's a big dead money number. It's like $43 million.
Yeah.
If they can figure out a way to make that after June 1st, then I think it's only 16 this year and then a lot more in 27. So maybe if you could do it that way, you could find the money to bring back Dallas Goedert. I just don't know how they're going to get it done. I think Dallas Goedert ends up somewhere else. As much as I'd like to have him back, I think he's a really good tight end for this offense.
Well, that leaves a pretty big hole at tight end if they don't re-sign him. You think he would take a 1-year deal and bet on himself?
No, that's the thing. Like I think he's going to get a multi-year deal somewhere.
I think he will.
Yeah, okay. I think he gets probably like a 3-year deal somewhere.
All right, Dotson.
I don't need Jahan Dotson. Like,
he's stepping on my Penn Stater, man. Come on.
Well, so here's the thing. Like, Mike, when the Commanders traded him to the Eagles so soon after drafting him, like I was like, there's got to be something that's just not right with this guy.
Yeah.
Like, they drafted him so high and then they abandoned it so quick. It just doesn't fit. He doesn't play at this level. You could find he's a dime a dozen guy for me.
Yeah, no, all right, I get you. All right, this is a very intriguing name because this goes in many different ways. It brings Lane Johnson's status into play. So the name is Fred Johnson.
Yeah,
they're going to have to draft an offensive lineman probably in the first round this year because they've got to start getting a little younger, and they need to draft Lane's backup, a young guy who can grow into that position. In the meantime, Fred Johnson, do you keep him?
I mean, look, he did a fine job as a backup tackle, and he played both sides. Like he even filled in on the left side for Mailata a couple times, and did a fine job. If you're bringing him back in to be just another backup guy, I'm fine. I'm good with it. But you can't expect Fred Johnson to be one of your 5.
No, I agree. If the price is right, why not bring him back? Same goes for Brett Toth, who had a role as well. Grant Calcaterra, you think he's got to be going, right?
Yeah, I don't need Grant Calcaterra.
Okay, Nakobe, here are 2 big names. Nakobe, well, 3 big names. Nakobe Dean, Jalen Phillips, and Reed Blankenship.
I think that you're going to see Reed come back. I do think Reed Blankenship comes back.
Okay.
They absolutely should try to bring Nakobe Dean back. Absolutely 100%.
Even though they drafted Campbell.
Yes.
Okay.
I think what did you see out of Jahad Campbell this year that makes you go,
I saw enough in Jahad Campbell to let Nakobe Dean go. You can't, like, if you drafted that guy to be a starter, you got to let him start. I mean, you can't have him in a backup role. And Nakobe Dean, even though he's a smart player and I like him a lot, he does get injured a lot. Jahad Campbell is the guy you got to ride with, I think.
Yeah, the injury thing is the only thing that gives me pause with Nakobe Dean. He really grew on me. And I really like him. If I could find a way to bring him back, I would. Jalen Phillips, I know he was okay when they brought him in.
Yeah. No, it was just okay.
It didn't do enough for me.
I agree.
Yeah. It didn't do enough for me.
Brandon Graham, I don't know if Brandon's going to come back. You got Josh Uche, you got Adoree Jackson, you got Matt Pryor. There's still a bunch of names out there. I don't know if any of them are going to be back, to be honest with you.
No, they need another corner. Like, the funny thing was, Mike, and I think I said this on the show last week. It was either this one or another show, but I was so underwhelmed by Adoree Jackson all year, and I kept saying, "You mean to tell me none of these other guys you brought in can be better than Adoree Jackson?"
And we found out the answer was no.
And the answer was no, right? On week 17, they were terrible. You got to be. That's a position that needs upgrading next year. So we got to bring somebody else in from outside that's better than Adoree Jackson.
I agree with you. All right, let's talk some more football issues. Mike Tomlin stepping down. Very interesting. And there's some really weird facts and figures and numbers here. Since Tomlin was hired 19 years ago by the Steelers,
Yeah,
there have been 141 coaches in the NFL.
it's crazy.
That's incredible when you think about it. 19 years is the seventh longest tenure in NFL history. He was their fourth coach, Pittsburgh's fourth coach in the last 57 years. Conversely, the Raiders and the Browns have had 42 head football coaches.
Yeah, it's fascinating to me. Like I think I texted this to you. Like I turn 52 next month. I've only seen 3 Steelers coaches: Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin. That's it.
That's incredible.
That's
when you
incredible.
Think about it. There's something to be said for stability. And a lot of people were in mourning that he stepped down. I think maybe they were thinking of firing him. He sensed that and decided to step down. And it's really interesting because they still own his rights for the next 2 years. So anybody that wants Mike Tomlin to coach for them would have to trade for him.
I know. That's the interesting thing. So it sounds like he's going to sit out a year and do TV.
Do media stuff. He'll get hired right away by somebody.
Yeah, he'll do TV.
Might take Matt Ryan's job now that he's a big executive.
Yeah, exactly. Go to CBS and fill right in and be good. And then after a year, maybe he gets back into coaching again, or maybe like his predecessor, he ends up in the media and realizes this is a much better gig.
Yeah, I can make a couple mil doing this rather than $6 million coaching somewhere.
Yeah, and have to deal with those long hours and everything else. So.
All right, let's talk about this subject. Is real juicy to me. It's the AJ Brown subject.
Yeah.
When I saw that confrontation on the sideline, I said, that's the problem with Nick Sirianni. Like you've got to be classier than to ignite something like that on the sideline because people are watching, and it's a bad look. Now, the reason why I think he snapped on that, I think that he's had enough of AJ Brown this year, and the least little thing made him go over the top. Like AJ not catching that ball was enough for him to say, this guy's been a pain in the ass all year. I'm going to yell at him. Because there was no reason to really yell at him. You don't do that to NFL players and embarrass them on the sidelines, no matter what kind of bratty guy they are. It's just a bad look.
It's a terrible look because you have 52 other guys on that roster, right? And you're not doing that to anyone else. And there's other guys that have done things like Jalen Carter got thrown out of a game for spitting on Dak Prescott before the first play. Now, whether or not he should have been thrown out, that's a whole different thing. But the reality of it is that if you kind of just let that go and there's no on-camera getting in his face about something stupid like that, why are you getting in the face of your wide receiver for being a little slow walking off the field?
He definitely had a short fuse for AJ there, and there are probably many reasons for that. Probably all year, he's been a pain in the butt to the head coach. And it took the least little thing that him not catching that ball, which was right in front of Sirianni, to him not getting off the field for him to snap at him. It's like when you have kids. The one kid gets on your nerves, and so you're going to have less patience with that kid as anybody else.
Yeah, for sure. I get it. But here's the thing. AJ Brown, in my mind, should be back here next year.
You like him to come back?
I think he should be back. He's 28 years old. He's a 1,000-yard receiver. His numbers were just as good this year as they were a year before and close to what they were the year before that. Like, why put yourself in a financial bind by having to move on from this guy? Make it work. And so, to me, that's why the coach needs to think about that a little bit more. I don't care how frustrated you get with the player. Don't be so publicly demonstrative. You want to have that, blow up with him in your office, go ahead.
I agree. It's just a bad look. It's not classy. And I think a head coach needs to be classy and rise above all that stuff. Like even Andy Reid, when he got bumped by Kelsey in that playoff game, he didn't react to it. You just can't react to it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I take my own personal experience with this, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, Steve Savino. Let's get his tweet in here.
Oh yeah, let's put it up.
His text in this day and age, like Vince Lombardi or Bill Parcells didn't yell at his stars. A lot of thin-skinned people out there nowadays. Well, of course, because the players are making that kind of money. Back then, guys like Lombardi and Bill Parcells held the hammer on players. Right. Now these guys are walking commodities. They're not going to They're not going to kowtow to a head coach, another man. They have their pride. They're star players. They've got this attitude about themselves. They're not going to get yelled at like they're a kid.
No. But I mean, even still, even if you are getting yelled at like that, right? And maybe I'm just cut a little bit differently. Like we've talked on this show, the very first episode, you asked me about my whole situation with John Tortorella, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I never wanted to make that a public thing. Like, you want to yell at me? Let's go into another room. You can yell all you want, and we'll have a conversation about it and scream and yell all you want. Don't do it in public. I'm not going to respond to you in public. I may yell at you if we do it privately. I might have an argument with you if that's what you want, but I'm not going to do it in public. And so,
agree.
and the coach and the player in this instance have to think that, right?
I don't think he's coming back. I gotta be honest
He
with
may
you.
not. I would bring him.
I think they'll make a trade.
I would bring him back.
I
would say to my coaches, make it work. We have one of the better receivers in football. Let's not put ourselves behind the 8 ball. Not only do you have to eat that money, Mike, with the dead cap, but then you have to replace him. So where are you getting that player? Like that, there's a lot that goes into that.
By the way, on the chat board, Ford 9065 was busting my chops saying Missinelli would never lose his composure publicly. Well, the difference is that I'm an idiot, and I go sports talk radio, and I am not a head football coach where 53 players are under me. That's the difference, right?
There you go.
Okay. All right, let's talk more NFL. Let's get to the NFL playoffs, and I want to get your selections here.
Yeah.
The first game is the Bills at the Broncos, 4:30 game on Saturday. Bills at the Broncos. Broncos are minus a 1.5. Very interesting line there. Who you liking?
I'm going Denver. I've been on the Denver bandwagon since the midway point of the season. I think that they're better than people want to give them credit for. I know Bo Nix is not the greatest guy or greatest quarterback, but I think that they have a good defense and their offense is smart enough. And again, good coach. Sean Payton's a good coach. I think that they're going to beat Buffalo.
I think I kind of agree with you. I think the Bills are on borrowed time, like the Broncos, but that line will tell you that's a little bit of a Bills line there.
It is a Bills line.
Second game in the 8 p.m. game Saturday, Niners at Seattle. Seattle, a whopping 7-point favorite in this game. Can the 49ers do it again?
I don't think so. And I got to tell you, you brought up those first 2 games because of the Saturday games. What the hell was the NFL? This was one of my quick hitters, but I mean, while we're here, what the hell with the schedule? Like, you made the teams that played on Saturday last week are playing each other this week on Sunday. Meanwhile, the 49ers and the Bills, who played on Sunday, are now playing on Saturday.
Yeah, there's got to be some kind of TV rationale for that.
Look, there is no rationale.
All right. Here are the Sunday games. The 3 o'clock game, Texans at Patriots. Patriots -3 at home. Battle 2 pretty good defenses.
Yeah, I'm going to take Houston in that one.
You like the Texans?
Yeah, I think it's the year of the defense, Mike. I think it's a year where the offense has not been like off the charts good. Yep. And so I that's why I'm taking Seattle. I think San Francisco covers that number, but Seattle wins the game that other game.
Finally, Rams at the Bears, 6:30 game. Going to be chilly in Chicago as the warm weather Rams go to Soldier Field to play the Bears. Rams are a 3.5-point favorite in this game. It's a short line for the Rams. I don't know. I kind of made me like the Bears in this game.
I'm with the Rams. It's the one. It's the
3.5. I keep telling you, these lines are tricky.
Yeah, it's the one.
So easy to take the Rams minus a field goal and a half.
Yeah, it's the one offensive team that I think has a better matchup. The Bears defense is built solely on turnovers. It really is. They don't do anything else. They're not impressive otherwise. And I think that Stafford's a good enough quarterback to kind of navigate that experience in Chicago. So I got the Rams in that one.
All right. We got to talk Philly baseball and the Bo Bichette romance that's going on right now, and what kind of a lineup the Phillies would have if they acquire Bo Bichette. I'm going to put you're the man that covers the Phillies. I'm going to let you make up the lineup after this if they get Big Bo. Feel good to you?
I do think they get him.
It's so fun.
Yeah, we'll talk about it afterwards. It's so funny because a week ago I was saying something completely different.
Okay, we'll talk about it. He thinks they're going to get Bo Bichette. Time's running out. Game's on the line. Who do you want taking the last shot, or you want Wapner Newman? PA and New Jersey's premier medical malpractice and injury attorney since 1978. Call 215-569-0900 or visit wapnernewman.com. The On Pattison podcast with Mikey Miss and Anthony Sanfilippo. Back after this.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Warm up this fall with an incredible seafood boil. Try the Uncle George with succulent snow crabs, tasty mussels, and shrimp. There's the Pete's Feast with 2 pounds of sweet succulent crab legs, a dozen shrimp, clams, and a pound of mussels. Or create your own boil. Add a lobster tail or a delicious Dungeness cluster. Include smoked sausage, corn, and potatoes, served in our tasty broth, made with white wine and our signature seasonings. A shellfish lover's dream at Chickies and Pete's.
Think banking hasn't changed? Think again. At Penn Community Bank, we've been helping communities thrive for 150 years. From our nationally recognized Access Checking that offers the peace of mind of no overdrafts, to student and free checking plus options with perks that will make you wonder what you did without them, like early direct deposit, overdraft grace, and Zelle. Learn more at PennCommunityBank.com/products. Penn Community Bank. Here we grow. Account and feature terms, restrictions, and conditions apply. Ask for full details. Member FDIC.
Your day-to-day life is hectic between having to pick up the kids, make dinner, the countless other tasks that you got to get done. Rob's Automotive and Collision is there to make your life a whole lot easier. Make sure you take advantage of their spacious waiting rooms, the large flat-screen TVs, complimentary coffee and muffins, and free Wi-Fi. So even when you do have to stop, Rob's is there to make you feel right at home. Give Rob's a call today at 215-826-9200 for any of your auto repair needs.
Ventresca Limited, the Delaware Valley men's store, is located in historic Doylestown. For casual clothing in denim to business suits and tuxedos, Ventresca Limited has a large selection you have to see to believe. The experienced and knowledgeable sales staff can show you the many brand labels that have made Ventresca Limited in Doylestown a must for men concerned about their image. Select from Canali, Brax Jeans, Hickey Freeman, Johnson Murphy Footwear, and much more. Custom alterations are free. Visit Ventresca Limited on the web at ventresca.com.
Oh, yeah, it is the On Pattison podcast. Mike Missinelli, Anthony Sanfilippo. Let's talk some Philly baseball. First of all, the news, and Ranger Suarez signing with the Boston Red Sox. It's the American League. I don't want a Ranger to haunt the Phillies, so it's not the Mets, it's the Red Sox. We'll follow from afar. And our old pal, Max Kepler, getting a big 80-game suspension for PEDs, and apparently he was shopping in the wrong aisle for the PEDs.
You know what
was in the aisle that makes you a 220 hitter, apparently.
You know what Max Kepler being on PEDs does? Should tell the Hall of Fame voters to put guys like Alex Rodriguez and Manny Ramirez into the Hall of Fame.
Because it doesn't work?
It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Wrong eye. He was in the wrong eye. He went for the cheaper ones.
Yeah. I will say the one thing about Ranger Suarez signing with the Red Sox, I kind of think it was almost like not that it was intentional, but that it was almost like a last gift to the Phillies. And that's because the Red Sox are a team that a lot of people thought would be in the Bo Bichette conversation.
Yep.
And now that they just spent $130 million on Ranger Suarez, means that they've shifted from looking for offense to looking to bolster pitching. It probably takes the Red Sox out of the mix in that in the Bo Bichette.
So let's talk about Bo Bichette. Does that make you think that the Bo Bichette's going to be a Philly? Because a lot of people who cover baseball are saying that the Phillies are the front runner.
Yeah, I do. I think it's a deal that is going to be kind of agreed to, assuming the Phillies can do a couple of other things. They got to move some salary. I think it's Alec Boehm that's the one that they would want to move. I guess they could potentially move both Stott and Sosa and get to this kind of the same number, but I think they'd like that kind of platoon between those two guys. And Boehm get you the money that you kind of need to move at there. And if you do that, it makes your team that much better. The more interesting question is, what does it do for the catching situation, right? Because this is where I was a week ago, Mike, and I thought that this was, and it's so funny because the news broke within minutes of our show ending last week. But I think I said on the show last week, I felt that this was the Phillies trying to send a message to JT like, okay, it's time to get this thing done. We're going to show you that we could potentially go in another direction. And then it turned out to be real. And I don't know if there's a way for JT Realmuto to sign with the Phillies now, if in fact they get Bo Bichette.
They favor Bo Bichette over JT, apparently. All right. So in that case, give me your lineup now, because I'm having a hard time putting together a lineup with Bo Bichette in it. Give me what you got.
I probably, and this isn't perfect, but I think it's the right way to go if in fact this is what you have. You go Trey Turner leads off.
Mm-hmm.
Bryce Harper hits second.
Oh, you got Harper in the 2-hole.
You need to put somebody behind Harper who can hit the ball.
Is that going to be Schwarber?
No.
It's going to be Bichette?
It's going to be Bichette.
Bichette will be your 3-hole hitter, moving Schwarber down to 4.
Cleanup,
which means he may not hit in the first inning.
I know.
I don't like that.
But I also going to say this. Kyle Schwarber's probably not going to hit 56 home runs again next year.
Well, he's not. 40.
Right. So, okay. So if he's hitting 40 home runs out of the 4-hole and you have 2 of the 3 best hitters in baseball batting in front of him, and what I mean by hitters is guys with total hits. Like Trey Turner and Bo Bichette were 1-2 in Major League Baseball last year in hits. They're going to get on base. So Schwarber is now in a spot where he's got on base guys in front of him are going to get on.
All right, you got Schwarber in the 4-hole. Do you have Garcia hitting 5th?
Yeah. Garcia would hit 5. And
Marsh 6?
Against righties, Marsh will hit 6. Probably Stott 7 against righties. The catcher, whoever it is,
8,
hitting 8, and Crawford hitting 9. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's fair. But that's what gets you on the record. You believe this is going to happen. How soon can we think they're going to sign Bo Bichette?
It's got to be within the week, Mike.
Next week we'll be talking about a signing of Bo Bichette.
Yeah, it's got to be. And, we're getting close to spring training, right? So spring training kicks off in less than a month.
Yep.
These guys need to know where they're playing, where they're going to be living. They got to get all their lives situated, get houses and things like that. Like they need to make that happen. And so you're going to see all the big names, I think, within the next week or so are going to be signed. And so I think Bichette is so I look for, and with our luck, it'll be 4:00 this afternoon as soon as the show is we're done on the show, right?
All right, that's our Phillies chat. It's now time for Anthony Sanfilippo's Flyers report. The Flyers are reeling right now, Ant. Tell me why.
Brutal. This has been their worst
4 in a row.
Worst stretch of the year. And look, the first loss of this group, the one to Toronto last week, was not a bad loss. They lost in overtime 2-1. They had some opportunities in that game to score and didn't. They gave up a late shorthanded goal to former Flyer Scott Lawton.
How about
for
that?
The Toronto Maple Leafs scored that goal. Lots. But then they lose in overtime on a crazy play. And then from there, it just has gotten ugly. 2 really bad games against Tampa where they just didn't look like they could compete against a team that's that good. And then the injury bug hits them last night. Dan Vladar, this is what we've talked about all along, Mike. This guy cannot get hurt for them. Yeah. And it looked like he tweaked something lower body. They didn't call it lower body. It was just, yet again, just an injury. But it looked like it was lower body. If he has to miss any length of time, shut it down. Forget it. Like they cannot make the playoffs with Sam Urson and Alexei Kolosov as their goalies. So they need this guy to get healthy quick.
All right, let's get some quick hitters in here.
Yeah.
The end of Hard Knocks, the NFC East.
Yeah.
Happened last episode. I'm going to tell you what bothered me about it.
Okay.
This may seem weird and it's going to make me sound like a prude.
Okay.
I hated the gratuitous F-bombs throughout the whole thing. Like, it's almost like if you're a head coach or if you're a position coach, you have to say the F-bombs. You have to use it as a noun, an adjective, an adverb, the whole bit to doctor your speech with that to make it seem like you're a tough guy. Did that occur to you at all?
Yeah, well, I didn't see the episode, so I can't sit here.
Well, in every episode, there's gratuitous cursing.
Yeah, but I'm with you on that. Like, I don't understand it. I don't know why this whole kind of machismo is needed for
Well,
sports.
I can see why the machismo is needed, like coaches talking to players, getting them riled up, the whole bit that you're in charge. Yeah. But it's like you go. I just thought if you watch the whole series, like you could count the F-bombs in an episode, like more than the movie Midnight Run. How many times they said the F-bomb, and they say it's every coach has to doctor his like the effing effing. And it's like it just made me crazy.
It's too much. It is too much. I do notice it more with today's generation. I don't know. Maybe it was like Mike. I shouldn't say this, but maybe it was like this before, and we just didn't know it.
I tell you the truth. Like I curse a lot, and when I'm talking, I probably do it as much as those guys. But it's like when you hear other people do it, it's cringy.
Yes.
That's the way I look at it. Like it's almost cringy when you hear people go overboard with the F-bombs.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like mix it up. If you're gonna curse, spread it around. Use some other colorful language and mix in the F-bomb every once in a while. I agree. Like I'm the same way. I curse a lot too, but I don't think I do it to the level that those guys do on a regular basis. Because if I'm noticing someone is cursing a lot, that means it's more than what's in my casual conversation.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's what you're probably noticing. So it's more than our casual conversation.
I agree. All right. College football playoffs expansion. They're thinking of going to 16 or even 24. You hate this idea, don't you?
Well, I don't know if I hate the whole idea. I guess I'm okay if it goes to 16. Because
but see, here's the thing. If you go to even 16, you're letting in the teams that you don't think belong anyway.
Well, a lot of people didn't think Miami belonged this year, and
Miami did belong, but they had a pretty decent resume of belonging. And I'm talking about the group of 5 schools that always carp that they don't get. Like those schools would now get evaluated as part of the college football playoffs, and I'm not sure I want that. I want the elite. I'm an elitist. I want the elite of the elite in there.
Well, so I looked at it like this, Mike, and I'm with you normally, right, on this, because I agree with you. You want the best schools playing for the championship. And what they have this year is they have the last team in Miami. And although Indiana's a Big Ten team, they're not a Big Ten blue blood. They came out of nowhere to have the Cinderella season that they're having this year, right? So you're getting a national championship that doesn't have who are your traditional best teams in the championship game.
Right? Miami, the U is back. Indiana has proven to me that they're legit. So let's go with the line on that game. National championship game Monday. Indiana minus 8.5 against the Canes.
I think Indiana wins the game, but I'll take Miami with this.
Take the cover?
Yeah, I do. I think their defense is good enough to keep the game close, but I think Indiana's the better team.
All right, Villanova hoops, Temple hoops. All of a sudden, we got some hoop teams in here.
Temple lost yesterday, but
they did. They lost last night to Memphis.
Yeah, but
gave them everything they wanted, though.
Yeah. I mean, look, are we starting to see a resurgence a little bit in the Big Five teams here? I don't know.
I haven't followed it as closely as I normally would. So I know Villanova's on a hot streak right now, but they're doing it with players that I don't even know.
Welcome to the transfer portal. You're just rooting for shirts anymore.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You're not focusing on who the players are. But I think Kevin Willard's done a hell of a job at Villanova. Like they were in a pit for the last couple of years, right?
They were.
Neptune was not a good coach there, and they were not looking good. And all of a sudden, they were 5-1 in the Big East and 4 straight road wins in the Big East. And they're not ranked yet, but they might be getting close. You might be getting a Villanova team that could make some noise in the tournament.
By the way, big college scandal broke today. The NCAA gambling scandal. 20 men were charged in point shaving scandal involving 39 college hoops players. So back to the old days when that used to happen. That's the theme of Henry Hill in Goodfellas.
Yeah.
39 college hoop players took some money to point shave or to whatever, like to do the prop bets or whatever. And surprisingly, the name of LaSalle University was mentioned in this.
Unbelievable, right? Unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, how deep does gambling have to run if you're shaving points in a LaSalle game? and you're putting big money on LaSalle.
The LaSalle players aren't getting the big NIL money, so that they're more susceptible to do it. If you look at all the schools that are involved, it's not the big schools that are paying the big money.
No, you're right. You're right. Well, this is kind of a perfect storm, right? So you have the sports has brought this upon themselves by getting into bed with legalized gambling, but if you couple that with NIL at the same time, right? There are athletes who you probably don't need to coerce to do things like that because they're making incredible money, at age of 18 years old. But at the smaller schools, they're not, and so they're more susceptible, like you said, to getting getting bought out and getting by these gamblers and getting themselves in trouble. It's a shame. I don't know how this gets better, Mike. I don't know.
I hear you. Speaking of NIL money, Dante Moore is returning to Oregon. Now, you don't do that unless you got some kind of deal where you're going to make $6 million to come back to Oregon. So he's taking the NIL money, and it's a smart move for him, I guess. Unless he gets hurt, it's a smart move for development. So because these people that come out in the NFL, the young, have not made it. The quarterbacks that stay in college longer are the ones that usually make it.
Yeah, and so here's my whole philosophy on this, and I've been on this train for a long time. I know that you run the risk of injury if you go back, right, to college. But really, don't you need a catastrophic injury to not be thought of in the same way?
What's a catastrophic injury?
Well, no, like I'm saying, let's just
suppose it's an ACL.
But okay, but he's still going to be
an ACL. He would have been the second pick in the draft. This kid,
he's still going to be drafted next year.
He is, but he might not be the second pick in the draft.
Maybe.
Here's the thing: if you're the second pick in the draft, you should go because you start that clock with the 5-year contract, the whole bit.
Yeah, but you're not making. Are you making that money?
Contract, yeah.
Are you making the money that Oregon's giving you?
You're not, but you will in your second contract. So you want to start it quicker.
Yeah, it's a matter of when do you want the money.
All right. Last thing I want to talk about, Ant.
Yeah.
I read this story the other day. You know that scalpers are scalping reservations now at popular restaurants in the city. Did you read this story?
No, I did not read this.
You have a reservation at a very popular restaurant. Just say it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which is like 3-4 months in advance. You have to get a reservation. If you have a reservation, they're scalping them. They're selling their reservation to people. What do you think of that? How our society has gone down to the crazy low level.
So what do I think of that? I think of the scalpers as entrepreneurial, and I think of the people willing to pay the scalpers money as morons.
Like not morons. You want to go to a restaurant. You want to go quicker.
So you make the reservation. You go in 3 months. What's the big deal? It's a restaurant.
It's 3 months.
It's a restaurant
right now. That restaurant might not be open in 3 months.
Come on. If they have a 3-month waiting list, they're going to be open. They're going to be open. That's ridiculous. But the scalpers themselves, good on them. Good on them for fucking.
I can't believe it. They're making money off scalping their reservations. All right. Anything else that we didn't cover today?
I just got to throw this out to you, Mike. So last week I brought up the Christmas decoration thing, right?
Yes, they still up in your house.
My wife heard that conversation we had on Thursday.
Yeah,
we're sitting there on Saturday watching the NFL playoff games, and she's walking in front of me, and every time she's taking a decoration down, she's giving me the death stare. As if it was all because I put this out publicly. So the decorations came down, and the Valentine's Day decorations are up. We have all the hearts and things
awesome.
in our windows.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening to the show today. You can, of course, get this on the replay. Our podcast is available on all podcast networks. It is the On Pattison podcast with me, Mike Missinelli, and Anthony Sanfilippo. And again, we're brought to us by the good folks at the law firm Wapner Newman. Check it out, 215-569-0900, or check them out online at wapnernewman.com. All right, Ant, have a great rest of the day. And everybody else out there, have a great rest of the day. We good?
Yep. You too, Mike. See you next week.
All right, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.